Hello and welcome to the Visionary Chronicles. Today we're going to talk about another chapter in the book, The Visionary Brand. Getting close to the end, but this is one of my favorite chapters in the book actually because not a lot of people talk about it. It's these creators, what I call these artists that make up these visionary brands. Many people think of visionaries as idea machines, people that are the most technologically advanced in the industry. That's not always the case. So we're going to talk about these creators, how they've changed our world. So today's chronicle is the visionary, through the visionary brand, the artist. We're going to talk about the artist in visionary brands today, how these creators have changed our world. First, though, I would like to welcome you to the Visionary Chronicles. Thanks for tuning in. And I want to make a special thank you to those who have either subscribed or reviewed the show on Apple Podcast. These are always appreciated. And also I wanted to mention, I had a few people, quite a few people reach out to me in regards to connecting in different areas beyond just email or just beyond the company Liquid Mind. And a great place to reach out is on LinkedIn at Bryan Smeltzer, BryanSmeltzer is my profile. Feel free to reach out to me. Always happy to connect on LinkedIn. So let's talk about today, again, on the Visionary Brand through my book, which, again, is an Amazon bestseller. It was a Reader's Favorite Award winner for Best Nonfiction Marketing Genre Business Book. Those that purchased, I always say I appreciate you. Thank you for that. But more importantly, those that have applied what I wrote about in the book in their day-to-day business, both personally and professionally, that probably gives me the most comfort. So again, thank you again, and feel free to reach out to me with any questions or anything you may have on the podcast today. So I'd like to start out, again, with just a question that I'd like you to contemplate. When we talk about why is it that culture is so integral to the success formula of truly visionary brands? You know, what does it take to build this great culture, one that others gravitate to and have an ongoing passion for? These are the people, when there's a shortage of employees, workers, have people lined up around the block to work for them because of the culture that they built and the passion that they have around their brand itself and what they produce and how they make people's lives easier, better, or faster. Whatever it may be, this is ones that brands and companies, those that people gravitate. So today I thought it would be really interesting. Again, it's one of my favorite chapters in the book. We'll discuss this artist behind the culture. But I love this quote from Benjamin Zander. He's actually the conductor of the Boston Philharmonic. And we'll actually talk about orchestration of teams, of brands, and how that applies to the artistry of visionary brands. And Benjamin said, which I thought was a great quote, and I have it in the book, is that I set as a goal the maximum capacity that people have. I settle for no less. I make myself a relentless architect of the possibilities of human beings. Now, here's a conductor for an orchestra saying the words architect, relentless, possibilities, human beings. All of these pieces of the puzzle that visionary brands and the traits and leaders have. And here's a conductor for the Boston Philharmonic, and why I love talking about the artistry behind visionary brands. So a story that I'm going to start out with is Steve Jobs. As you know, I'm a big Steve advocate, but you know, if it applies, it applies. There's different stories. I don't talk normally about the same thing with Steve, but I do talk about things that apply to what we're talking about in visionary brands. In the case of today with the artistry, it applies. When Steve was brought back to revitalize Apple, the company he had co-founded, he made a lot of unexpected changes. You know, now I say unexpected because these were things that aren't the norm and the things that most new leaders of brands don't address. But the most surprising thing that you'll see with Steve when you look back on the change that he made on Apple, yes, he hired engineers, builders, others with technical expertise, but basically Apple was on the brink of extinction, bankruptcy. And he hired artists. He wanted a perspective. from artists that wasn't available through technical experts, was not available through engineers or builders of brands. He wanted people that were looking at Apple from the outside in. Others were looking at Apple from the inside out. So it was a different perspective that Steve wanted inside of Apple that wasn't there. Used to be there when he first started and founded the company, but was no longer there. So there wasn't a passion around identifying Apple, who they were from the outside looking in. So in hindsight, this was a really visionary move. Apple could bring in the most innovative, technical geniuses in the industry to make the most advanced software, whatever they wanted. But, and here's the big but, if it didn't make sense on an aesthetic, human level, then who wants to buy it? And it goes back to Steve's positioning when he came back to Apple. 3 words. Simple is sophisticated. If it takes more than 3 steps to turn on the iMac, pull it out of the box, put it on the table, plug it in, hit the on button, then it's too complicated. If you have to read the instructions, it's too complicated. So one of the most revolutionary, let's say, facets of Steve was his visionary approach that brands are made up of people and succeed or fail based on their actions. It's an interesting perspective because most people think it's made up of the vision, which it is. But it's a compilation of ideas that are executed through the team in their actions. So if you look at it as a visionary leader and how you can apply it with your company and your brands and your team, it's, again, Steve's simplicity around saying that the brand, success or failure, is based on your team's actions. The ability to see beyond the product and embrace this human touch is really what they call this creator mentality. No brand that I've ever seen in writing the book or that I've been with can aspire to visionary status without considering the human factor at all levels. How does your customer interact with your brand? How does your customer interact with your product, your service, or whatever you may provide? It's more than providing a point of difference. It's making a person's life easier or better. The human factor at all levels. So artistry can be really often overlooked by brands or companies. You know, even with Apple's example to look back on, people still don't do it, which is confusing to me. So the fact that human perspective is subtle and really not that easily understood by other people, whether it's marketing, packaging, user experience, every aspect of how your community or your customer interacts with your brand is built off of this baseline of human factor. So you need to understand how you're going to apply this. It's the difference between, again, success and failure. It could be as minor as your font choice, a specific shade of color, a phrasing of an email, an advertisement. If there's a disconnect between the human factor and your brand positioning and who you are and who you say you are, but how you act is different, loyalty and authentication goes away. So let's just use an example. So suppose your brand is staffed with the best and brightest technical minds to the exclusion of artists and other creative, human-focused experts. In that case, you're going to lose that human emotion, that human element, the simple sophistication of a daily interaction with a machine or service or whatever it may be. So ultimately, although artistry is about more than hiring artists, as a leader of a visionary brand, here's how you can apply to it. You need to cultivate a certain amount of artistry in yourself. I don't care if you're in ops or if you're in marketing or in product, you're in financial accounting, whatever it happens to be. You need to cultivate a certain amount of artistry in yourself and every team member around you. To one degree or the other. I'm not saying more people will be creative than others, but everybody in some way, some form or fashion can be creative in their roles as a leader or as someone working for a leader within your functional group to make a point of difference. So bringing artistry into a brand requires finding the artistry in others. That's another key principle that leaders need to understand. You may very well have a diamond in the rough that you're not aware of. And you need to have an understanding of how to blend this all together to create what I call this beautiful concerto. And those that have been to an opera or a concert or whatever it may be, this orchestration of all of these instruments, how beautiful it is for them all to be collectively working together. And this goes back to Benjamin Zander's quote, is you could have 99 out of 100 instruments and the artists playing their instruments beautifully. But if you have the wrong person on the wrong instrument, it creates havoc. So it's your job as a leader to find the right instrument for the right artist and ensure that everybody on the team is working as an orchestra together and playing beautiful music. So it's the poets, it's the rebels, the creators, the observers. Each of these needs a place in your brand, and each needs the freedom and support to let those creative juices flow. What you need really is a machine made up of passionate individuals, really organized to use their talent to improve lives, enhance experiences, or make something difficult more sophisticated and simple. And think of that. Not a lot of people whiteboard that, and we do that with Liquid Mind with our brands that we work with, is when you look at it, a made up of passionate individuals organized to use their talents to improve lives, enhance experiences, and make something difficult more sophisticated and simple. Put that up on the whiteboard on your next planning session and see what type of reaction you get. People think of tangible things, but many times you need to think about intangibles that will make you different and define your company and your brand to your community. So a lot of the questions I get are just, hey, how am I supposed to make an artist out of myself when I'm really not one? So the trick really is to learn the strengths and weaknesses you already have. Not a lot of people say that, I'm a great speaker. I'm not a great speaker. But nobody really has taken inventory of their strengths and weaknesses. There's one in there that's a strength, and there's others that are the weaknesses. I'd say work on your strengths and delegate and have somebody support your weaknesses. The artist in each of us is unique, and understanding our distinctive, say, God-given skills is critical to finding our passion in this world. So start building that creator mentality in your everyday life. Start looking at your strengths and weaknesses and asking those questions, improving lives, enhancing experiences, or making something difficult more sophisticated and simple. Observe our daily interactions with tools, technology, and products people use daily. And always, 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 always ask why. Why do we do it this way? And how can it be improved? This is the creative process, creating meaningful products for the betterment of us and society. It's built on understanding of human emotion of touch and our sensation and the impact on somebody's day-to-day life. That's the artistry behind the product. So artistry, and this is one of the visionaries I have in my new book, The Visionary Leader, which is going to be coming out next year. Manuscript just completed, by the way, so that was quite a task. And artistry can really be best illustrated through an actual artist, and this is one that I profiled in my book, Vincent van Gogh, who translated his work to art, his passion to reality. Vincent van Gogh was planning to be, of all things, a clergyman, with no thoughts of becoming an artist, a skill he had yet to discover at an older age. And we're very, very fortunate that he found this passion and he translated it to why it's very, very helpful in our everyday life, is finding your passion. Doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter if you are or you are not. It is that you are. And I'll go back to the quote of Henry Ford, which is, think you can, think you can't. Either way, you're right. So in looking at what inspired Van Gogh, so you can get an idea as a leader, how do I become creative? How do I become an artist? Van Gogh, he says, he wasn't not careful, well thought out process of how he eventually come to be an artist. It was the balance of colors or shapes or worrying about whether it would sell. It was the creative instinct inside of him. He didn't care about making money. He just had this innate ability to look at colors, to look at nature, to shapes, and to make these beautiful masterpieces. He had let's just say, a real passion for creating something. And I love the word passion in creation in Visionaries. He could share it with others. His artistry was always driven by this passion. And that is why today he only made very few passionate paintings and why they're so valuable. And he didn't create these, as some people may or may not know or may not think, for the money. Believe it or not, Vincent van Gogh earned $109 during his lifetime. But he wanted to stop and take a look at the artistry around us and put that on a canvas for our benefit. His every creation was driven by being authentic. Think of your brand. Vincent van Gogh was authentic. What did he want to do? He wanted to make people's lives more enlightened, genuinely embracing what he was painting and sharing it with others. To a certain degree, Nikola Tesla, which I also have in the book, was that way. He didn't look at it for the money. He gave away his patents for virtually nothing. So build that own authentic passion for what you do and for your life principles, and it'll shine through in your work. And I love the quote by Vincent van Gogh, where he said, and listen to the words. These words apply to your everyday business. Great things are done by a series of small things brought together. That's beautiful. Step by step, you'll achieve your vision. Great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Vincent van Gogh. So we rarely share our thoughts in our own work, much less discuss the thoughts and the artistry around us. It would do us all good. It really would. I mean, we're in meetings or talking with people just to share our thoughts, our passions with others. So then they feel comfortable as well, and you're better for it as a company. You're passionate around what you do. You're letting people know what you love to do. You want to know what your artistry is, what your God-given talents are, and how you can make the company or brand better, how you can be a creator. So Van Gogh created genuine art, pieces no one to this day can replicate, as no one can recreate his passion for his work. That's the beauty behind these visionaries. They just had this creative passion that nobody else can match, and they can't match it to this day. Van Gogh did not worry about the skeptics either, but rather he wanted to share the beauty that he saw in the world that everybody can now enjoy. So be an artist, live with a passion, and share it with others. In another quote by Vincent van Gogh during his lifetime, what would life be if we had no courage to attempt anything? Think about your life as a leader and a creative. What have you done? What do you say you want to do, and what have you done about it? Do you worry about the critics? Do you worry what other people are going to think about your ideas? flex your creativity, flex that passion, and that will allow you to take a leap towards conquering your mountain. So understanding the impact of your creation on society and culture will allow you to understand better to the ongoing value provided to those who use your products. So you understand, you can relate to people that are using your products and why it's good and why it's not good. If you don't have that human factor, you're not authentic. Think of revolutionary, generational products that affect your daily life and how you embrace them. That ecosystem around Apple. There's certain things you love, certain things you don't like, but it's an ecosystem. So both personally and professionally, this area is most often overlooked. I can tell you at Liquid Mind, or the brands that I've been with personally, this area is really overlooked by companies. Is their value to their products provided beyond functional use? Look at how products like the iPhone influence your lifestyle and how you interact with your coworkers, your family, your friends. Not all products will have this type of impact. The visionary ones do, and anything is possible when you connect the dots between functional use and lifestyle enhancement. That's a beautiful combination. You know, creating great products that change our daily lives and interaction with others is difficult. I get it. It's hard. But that's why they're visionary, and that's why they're generational. The music is hard to write and more difficult to play. I love that analogy with artists. And it can apply to you in the business world. Stuff is hard. Shit's hard. Stuff's hard to make. Quit copping out on crap and saying stuff's easy. Build a team, build a passion around it, and have a great vision and execute on that vision with the team around you and keep that passion going. Again, music's hard to write, more difficult to play, but true artists find it enlightening and can translate that passion for life to reality in this real world. You know, the artist is a key piece of brand orchestration and plays an absolute pivotal role in ensuring the reality of real-world experiences is brought to life through risk-taking. And I love this other, and again, I love artists because I love what they create and I love the passion around it. They don't do it for the money. They do it for creativity, and they do it to have enjoyment with others, with what they've created. Pablo Picasso, I'm always doing that which I cannot do in order that I may learn how to do it. Meaning that I'm always doing things I don't understand. But when I delve into it and don't do things that are easy, I'm learning. That's what Pablo is saying here. Picasso is saying. I'm always doing that which I cannot do in order that I may learn how to do it. So play your music. Be a creator and be yourself, more importantly. You know, your ultimate goal should be to genuinely engaged while living life passionately. You know, be engaged with your people, with your team, with your wife, with your husband, your children, whatever it may be. Visionary brands put the right people on the right instrument, whether through their inherent skill set, passion, or both. You know, too often, those who think they can play marketing, sales, product, etc., are a detriment to the entire team because they don't know how to play their instrument. Just because you say you like playing the trombone doesn't mean you should play the trombone. Just because you say you like marketing doesn't mean you should be in marketing. They're a detriment to the entire team when they reach beyond their role. They need to fill in the overall ensemble to ensure the orchestra is playing uniform, beautiful music. Be a creator, be a part of the team. Know the role you play for the brand's overall success. You know, if needed, you know, this visionary leader is going to rearrange the orchestra so each can play together as one, a true masterpiece I talk about in The Artist. The artist is one that brings the team together as a true orchestra, everybody playing the right instrument and creative. So being able to put people on the right instrument and have them playing beautifully in unison with another leads to a rich, rewarding experience for the instrumentalist, team, conductor, the company, the audience, the consumer. This leads to a harmonious, thriving brand culture. Think about it. Beyond product, what do you provide of value to your company, product or service? Do you have a culture? Do you have a passion? Do you have creators? Do you have ideas? So know your role. Have a passion for what you do and support others throughout that process. This leads to an enviable result of having those who are part of a brand feel they're part of the brand. And as simple as that sounds, it's hard to accomplish. Many people are just walking zombies inside of a brand. They don't feel like they're part of the brand or how they fit inside the brand. So this feeling's a lifeblood of the creators, the true passionate artists. So again, be creative, be an artist, be a visionary leader that inspires others to aspire to be greater than they are today. So I always say, stay true, stay authentic, be different, be great, but enjoy the journey along the way. Welcome. Thank you for listening to the Visionary Chronicles today. As I always say, I greatly, greatly appreciate your time. I know everybody's busy. And again, I want to do a shout out to those who have subscribed to the Visionary Chronicles through Apple Podcast. Would appreciate if you wanted to subscribe or also pass that along to others that might enjoy what I'm talking about on the Visionary Chronicles. So again, thanks for listening to the Visionary Chronicles. Always appreciate your time, and we'll look forward to the next Visionary Chronicles.